Are you living for likes or the Lord? Welcome to the ANTD podcast. I'm your host, Amee Witters. This is my co-host and husband, D. Witters. And today we're going to tell you a little story about a girl that became a foot model to seek validation from others.
Oh, man.
As opposed to seeking validation from God. And that little girl is me.
Dang, all because I was cheating on you.
I got found out last week. Somebody commented and said, "Am I tripping? Or did that girl used to be a foot model?" And I said, "You ain't tripping. Sounds like a good podcast episode."
Wait, so what are we about to talk about right now?
So we're going to talk about how that came to be and what I was doing and why that is wrong and why you need to be seeking validation from God instead of seeking the approval and validation of others. And I got key points and everything
Dang,
for it.
it's going to be fire.
But hopefully, it could help somebody.
Let's go.
All right. So my first point is dependency on external approval. So when you're seeking validation from others, that can lead to a constant need for external approval, making one's self-worth dependent on people's opinions rather than a solid internal sense of value. This can result in emotional instability and a lack of personal confidence, which is what I had because you were cheating on me and not paying me any attention. So I started buying bags, buying clothes, buying sneakers, buying shoes, and I happened to buy a pair of these clear, strappy sandals.
Strappy.
Strapped them on my feet, took a photo, thought, oh, this is a cute little photo of my cute new shoes, thought nothing of it, and my phone blew up. I remember I put it on the counter on the charger and then went away, and when I came back, I was like, what the heck? I had all these likes, all these comments, all these DMs of people like trying to repost it on their foot page. Like, it was crazy. I think I went from like 2,000 followers to like 20,000 followers in like a week. And I was like, oh, okay, like foot fetish, that's like a thing. Like that's really a thing. Like, wow, I'm going to grow my whole page doing this. But to like make it look like I wasn't like a full-on foot model, I was like, oh, I'll just take like cute outfit pics and be barefoot and like these little poses and stuff like that, seeking validation and seeing how many likes I could get, how many comments, how many followers. It was a very sad time in my life, and I'm embarrassed of it now, but
I don't think you
it's
need
real.
to be embarrassed.
It's real. I mean,
why would you be embarrassed?
because I think there's a stigma around foot fetishes, number one.
I think there's a stigma around any type of thing like that.
I think it's sad that I had to seek validation from the world as opposed to like finding my value and believing what God says about me. I think it's sad that I didn't have validation from my husband at the time. It was just a very, like, in the moment it was fun, and I think I didn't really realize what I was doing because I wasn't living for God. I wasn't like walking out my faith like I am now. And so it was kind of just like fun for me. Like, oh, I'm getting all this attention. Like, oh, all these people are posting me on their page. Like, not really thinking anything of it or really grasping like people are lusting after you. Like,
You know what's crazy to me is that I was like full on pimping during this period of time, and I never tried to like force you to make money.
you didn't want me to, and I didn't want to either.
But you would think like I was doing that with other girls.
You didn't like it. You were like, man, you need to delete these pictures. Your boobs are out. Like this outfit. Like you didn't like it
That's
at all.
wild to me. Like looking back at it, like I cared about you. I didn't want you to like be on the internet.
Yeah, but you're over here pimping girls out, getting money from them, doing all kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
Interesting. So let me give you some stats.
Wait, what? I got a lot of questions.
Oh, okay.
No, do your stats first.
Okay. So foot fetishes are very common, and some estimates suggesting that they are the most widespread fetish globally.
Whoa.
They're primarily reported among men, but do appear in both genders. And foot-related content ranks highly in adult media consumption with significant interest in social media. And I deleted the rest of this. But basically, like, it's the most common. I also read that it's like one of the top 10 searches on the hub.
Do you think that's because it's like a gateway, like entryway into that? Like, oh, it's just feet, or before you go into like full blown?
No, I think, well, you're doing
I know, but
stuff
I'm
with your
saying
feet.
like for dudes or for anybody who has this fetish, like, oh, it's not as bad as like full on, like,
Maybe initially I thought that, and I also thought initially that it was like kind of weird, and then the more I started to take foot photos and pictures and stuff, it became less weird to me, kind of like you become desensitized, and I
yeah.
kind of got it like, oh, um it's like the equivalent of oh, I'm a boob guy, I'm a butt guy. Well, I'm a foot guy.
Yeah, I don't think like I'm very attracted to you, like your feet, everything about you.
You weren't like that though
No,
before this whole thing.
yeah, no,
Even though you touched my feet the first time we ever hung out
that's
and went
kind
to
of crazy.
Denny's, which is kind of crazy.
When you were faking, oh, I need to get a pedicure. My feet are so dry, but you were getting a pedicure like once a week back then. You made me touch your feet.
I did not make you. You couldn't wait to grab them things out them shoes.
You did. If you
You were
had,
like, let me see.
well, because if you had
You look
ugly,
like you walk on
if you had
clouds to
ugly,
me.
that was a good one. Dang, say that again.
You look like you walk on clouds to me.
What a cornball! It worked though.
Yeah, that's how you got me.
But if you had ugly
Not
feet,
really.
if you had ugly feet, there's no way I would have.
Really?
Hell, that's gross. I don't want ugly feet.
You probably would have never even really thought of it though, had you not seen
If
my
you had
feet
some
initially.
clodhoppers, like some eagle talon, like
I think people that really do have a foot fetish, because I've talked to one of my friends, he was like, yeah, like if they're, like a 5 or a 6 in the face, but they got some really pretty feet, I'll date them.
there's a lot of
So
dudes.
it's just, I
There's a
mean,
lot of dudes that I cut that have foot fetishes or
it's
that like
very
feet. Yeah.
common. It's very common, which I realized in doing this.
So that's what the enemy was trying to do. He was trying to get you hooked in while I was doing my thing. Like, okay, I'm
Well,
gonna
yeah,
get
but
her.
I'm not realizing that there's, people are looking at those pictures and it's not like, oh, she's pretty. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go use this and you know what I mean? Like you
And
ain't
I
thinking about that.
and I don't think like we came from working in a strip club where there's like butt cheeks clapping to like feet. It's not
Yeah,
that
to
big of a
me,
deal.
I'm like, oh, I'm not showing my boobs or my butt or anything. I'm not out here with like thirst trap pictures. I'm just barefoot.
And I didn't. It wasn't weird to me until somebody started FaceTiming you, and I was
Well,
like,
I feel like we should get into that like later. Like
okay, all right,
like why I got out of
all right,
doing it. Okay.
bet.
Any other questions right now? Like in the intro of like how I became a foot model?
No, but I'm sorry that I made you feel like you had to seek validation somewhere else.
I forgive you.
All right, what's point number 2?
Neglecting spiritual fulfillment. So, relying on others for validation can detract from the deeper, more lasting sense of self that comes from a relationship with God. Spiritual fulfillment offers a sense of peace and purpose that external validation can never truly provide. So, like before, well, this is kind of weird because I feel like there was that period of time where I was really close to God and like really seeking God and getting answers from God about what to do for our marriage and worshiping and praying and in my Bible all the time. And then I feel like once we kind of got to like an okay place where you were like cheating less, I guess what I thought, um, I kind of stopped like being as close to God. And I think if I would have stayed in that space, then like when you kind of were like withdrawing from me a little bit, I might not have taken, I might not have done that. I might not have been like, oh, I need attention from other guys or attention from, I need all the likes, all the follows, like as many as I can get. It became like an addiction. Like I would wake up every day, like putting together outfits and how am I going to do my makeup and what poses am I going to do and how many likes is this going to, like, that was my day since I didn't have anything else to do. Like you made me a stay-at-home mom, which I think made me feel kind of trapped sometimes. Like, well, I have no way to take care of myself. So
Yeah, and I was making so much money, I didn't care what you bought. Like I wasn't tripping.
you started to care
Towards the
towards
end,
the end. Like, yeah.
because I seen what it was at the end. I seen like, well, we'll get to that at the end of this. Like, what happened to make me be like, yeah, I think it's time for you to stop, bruh.
So Um, I think there came a point where I started going to esthetician school.
Right?
And so I was like still doing it, but like not as often. And I don't know where I was going with this.
You went to esthetician school and you started using your Instagram for that versus
Right. And I
feet stuff.
remember like my friends in school, like, oh, what's your Instagram? Oh, dang, like you got heck of followers. And and being like, oh, yeah, like, I'm like a foot model. Like people like my feet. I post pictures on my feet and stuff. And people thought I was kidding. They're like, oh, dang, no, like you really do. And then what was even more funny is that your side chick started doing it because she saw like how many likes and follows I was getting. She would do the same exact thing. She used to do that stuff all the time. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then remember how I told you I had that group chat with like the 1 foot dude and this one other girl?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it came about. And I'm not going to like share his name or anything like that. He doesn't do it anymore, but
I feel like none of those people do it anymore. Didn't one of them get saved or something after you stopped?
yeah, this is him, but I don't want to say like what his page was or anything like that. But um somehow we all got to talking about, like how I started doing it or whatever, and I told him like the whole story about um like that you cheated on me, who you cheated on me with, and he was like, "Let me see." And I told him like she be posting her feet, so I need you to like not post her on your page. He was like, "Well, show me what she looks like." And he was like, "Dang, man, her feet are kind of nice, but I promise I won't post her on my page ever." He's like, "I won't, I promise." He was like, "Cause that's messed up." So I thought that was funny. But yeah, like,
This is such a weird like world that we lived in.
yeah, and I didn't think nothing of it. I really didn't think anything of it. It wasn't until um I got that I saw oh, I know where I was going with my esthetician thing. So I went to esthetician school. I worked for like 6 months at that one boutique place. And then you were like, let's get you a spot. Like, let's have you open up a suite and I'll get like all the waitresses and dancers and stuff to come to you. I was like, okay. And then this one random dude hits me up to set up an appointment. His name was Andrew. I'll never forget it because it was the craziest thing. And he was like, sets up an appointment and then,
Every girl right now with a man named Andrew is like, "Was it you, Andrew? I know you like my feet."
well, if he said that he was opening up like a nail spot and he wanted to practice on me like pedicures and like massages and stuff. But this was after he'd booked his appointment. Like he sounded kind of off. I could tell like, I got to, and I remember telling you like, I got a weird feeling about this guy, but whatever. He like called me and was like, can we at some point like exchange facials for massages? Like, I want you to tell me if I give a good foot massage. And I'm
Oh
like,
hell no!
nah, bruh. Like, I'm cool on that, bro. And then he would call me like while I would be in facials and be like, why aren't you answering the phone? Like, I need to talk to you. I have questions about my facial, like being all weird. And then finally it got to a point where I was like, you know what, bro? I'm canceling your appointment. Like, you're weird. You're creeping me out. Please don't ever call me again. I'm about to block your phone number. Like, do not come to your appointment on whatever day it was. And then I had a couple other male clients after that. And I remember being like, hey, babe, I need you to stay in the parking lot and just in case.
Just in
But
case I
but
gotta
those dudes
shoot
were, yeah,
somebody.
like those dudes were fine. None of that ever got crazy. And then I remember somehow that one dude got my phone number and kept calling
Well, it's
me. And I'm
because it
like,
was
why did
on.
I keep getting a FaceTime call?
Well, it's because your phone number is like
Yeah,
for
for my
you. Yeah, your
business.
business.
So then you're like, man, let me answer this phone and see who this is.
And then I answer the phone, and this dude's like on an air mattress in a bedroom by himself, butt naked. I'm like, put that
He was
little.
like all
I was
scared.
like, put that little thing away, bro. And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then hangs up the phone. I'm like, bro, who FaceTimes somebody like and just does that?
And
I,
so that really scared me.
it's time to hang up the
And
feet.
then I think that really opened my eyes to like, this isn't okay. Like having men lust after me and like dudes would like text or DM and be like, hey, if I like give you some poses and send you some money, will you take these pictures for me?
What's the weirdest thing you got asked to do for money?
I don't remember. I think maybe like put like put like candy ring, like those little peach ring things, like on my
What
toes.
the hell?
But yeah, like
I'd eat peach
I
rings off your toe.
this is such a
What
weird
else?
conversation. I don't remember. It was like so long ago. I just
Anybody
remember
ever asked
there.
you for like stinky socks or anything?
Yeah, that was a thing. Oh yeah, like people would ask if I sell my used like gym sneakers because that's a thing. Don't laugh. Like this
It's
is like
funny to me.
like yeah, like the smell. I'm like my feet don't really stink like that. Like I don't care. Are you going to
Even
sell
better.
them? Like no.
Dang.
So I never sold any. I don't know why for some reason that to me was like, "Oh, that's crossing a line for me. Like that's weird."
Mm.
Even though realistically like, girl, you should have been getting your I don't know. I just had like a to have someone tell me like, okay, these are the photos I want, and then to be like taking picture, and no shade to women that do this, like I just was very convicted.
I don't think if you're a prostitute or foot model or OnlyFans girl, like you should. I think it's the dudes that's like, I don't know how to put this the right way. I think it's the dudes that really need to check themselves. Yeah, like you're contributing to it, right? But it's just like a drug dealer is guilty for selling the drugs, but then there's people that are going to buy the drugs regardless. So don't sell drugs, like don't be a foot model or whatever, like prostitute, but also like it's on the dude. It's just like a cheater. It's on the cheater to not be the cheater, not on the.
Well, and I think if you're not living for God, like it's not going to convict you.
Yeah.
I started to get very convicted from the Lord. Like, this is wrong. You are having men lust after you. And then it started making me think like, well, if there's dudes that have girlfriends or wives and they're like secretly buying photos or they're
They're
looking at
cheating
my
on their
photo,
wives.
yeah, like that I'm making somebody cheat. And then that made me feel like, damn, then I deserve to get cheated on. Like I
No, you
deserved
don't.
all this.
No, you
Like
don't.
and so
No, you didn't.
no, I didn't, but that's ultimately what made me like I can't do this anymore. And so I like deleted all the pictures. I'm sure you could still find them somewhere on the internet.
So what would
Deleted all
you?
the pictures, delete. I didn't even use that page anymore. I started like a whole new skincare page and like rebranded and didn't even care that that page had like 40 something thousand followers and just started over because I don't want to be associated with that anymore.
So what would you say to somebody who's like still in that right now, who's a prostitute or a stripper or OnlyFans, like, and they're making a lot of money and it's hard for
Well,
them to get out?
oh God, I don't know.
How would you encourage them? Like to
Your
like
worth is in Jesus, not in what other people are going to pay you for what you look like, for what you do. Um, and I don't want to sound like holier than thou or like I'm better than anyone or like I'm judging anyone when I say that, but you don't have to put your worth in what other people say about you. And I
yeah,
feel like even doing this podcast is helping me also because people are so there's been so much support, but people are so mean and just say crazy things. And I've gotten to the point now where I can't let it affect me anymore. I can't let it ruin my day, and I can't believe the things that they're saying to me.
yeah.
I have to take those thoughts captive in the same way that I would take those intrusive thoughts captive and speak promises of God over me instead.
So what's
And
one
that's
what's one promise that they could speak over themselves?
Psalm 139:14. Do you know that?
I mean, it's tattooed on my hand.
Tell them. What is it?
I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knoweth right well.
Yeah, very good.
That's the first verse I ever learned. I was in like second grade, third grade.
Yeah,
My dad taught me that.
it's a good one.
You're a good one.
It's easy to remember. I would speak that over myself all the time.
Yeah, that whole chapter of the Bible, Psalm 139, is one of my favorites because it's talking about how God knew you when you
We're in your
were in
mother's
your mother's womb.
womb.
He had your story
He
written out
knit
for
you
you.
in your
Yeah,
mother's womb. Yeah.
he knit you together. Like he knows everything about you. He knows when you wake up, when you go to sleep. Like God knows you better than
That's why when
anybody.
people are like, it's just a clump of cells, I'm like, no, it's
Nah,
not.
nah. God knew you. Nobody's born. Nobody's an accident.
Exactly.
Like if God did
Exactly.
exactamundo. But yeah. Was that the third point?
No.
What's
The
the third
last
point?
point is placing vulnerability to manipulation. So placing too much emphasis on others' opinions opens the door to being manipulated or swayed by others' desires or judgments. In contrast, seeking validation from God ensures that one's sense of purpose and direction is grounded in a higher, unwavering truth. So if I would have stayed, speaking the promises of God over me instead of like falling into the trap, of like, oh, what the world says and, you know,
Well, that's probably why it was easier for me to manipulate you too and make you feel
a
like
hundred
you're
percent,
crazy when I was just lying to you
a hundred
and
percent,
lying to everybody.
100%.
Dang. So really,
Because my whole self-esteem got shattered as soon as you cheated on me.
which I feel like you struggled with that since you were a kid. So
Yeah,
it was
because I
just like
used to get
compounding.
bullied,
Yeah.
and maybe that, but what I don't get is like I've been cheated on in every relationship that I've ever been in, and in all the other relationships, I was like, "Oh, I'm not taking this. I'm leaving." And for some reason with this relationship, God was like, "No. Like you got a purpose to serve here. It's bigger. It's bigger. It's going to be a bigger thing than what you even think."
Yeah. I think that's why I have a more of a more of a patience when it's time for me to walk away from a certain thing and like make sure I'm hearing from God now because I've made a lot of decisions like without God and I think it's better to make them with God and you don't need to be in a rush to make them either. So like if somebody's thinking about walking away from their marriage, I think they're justified like they can 100%.
They can if they got cheated on.
100%.
I don't want people thinking you can just up and leave for whatever you want because
No.
that's not true.
No, but what I'm saying is if you're thinking about leaving a relationship, whether you're married or not, I think that you should submit it to God and talk to Him and just see how you feel afterwards, and then make the decision. It's not going to hurt
I think
anything.
with any decision, you should be doing that.
Facts. Yeah, and I didn't do that until maybe like 9 months ago. Really like, okay, any big thing, I'm going to pray before, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to
Hmm.
be in a hurry to make any decision.
I know I've even been doing like prayer and fasting with stuff like that, like big decisions.
Yeah, and nothing's too big or too small for God.
Nope, not at all. And I think if I would have kept my eyes on God and knew what God said about me, even from like a little kid, that could have probably spared me a lot of pain. But I think that God used that for his glory in the end because he can use any bad thing and turn it around for good.
Yeah, I was just talking to my dad and my other mom about this today. Like all the things that I've done wrong, like God has made them all work out. It's crazy. Like He loves us that much. It's just like our kids. They do dumb stuff all the time. Like we're gonna make sure they're straight
Yeah.
and in. So, like that should be your view on God. Like the best father. Like you might have had a crappy father, but He's not like that. He's gonna make sure whatever mistake you make, it'll work out in the end.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't matter what other people say about you or think about you. And a lot of the time, they're going to think it or do it anyway, no matter how you are or how you act, because that's just,
Well, a lot of people think stuff about you because they think that stuff about them. The Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart speaks the mouth. So, and life and death is in the power of the tongue. So, that stuff that's coming out of them is actually it has to come out of them before they can even say it to you. So that's already in them, and they need help with that. So we shouldn't even be like listening. Not everybody's allowed to just speak into our lives and
yeah.
say,
And I'm to the point now where I don't. You either get blocked or I just straight up ignore your comment and thank you for the engagement.
we have
Like
we have way too many people to like love on and help to be
the
focused on.
amount, yeah, like the amount of messages, DMs, emails, positive comments. Like this thing has gotten so big so quick, and I was just trying to help, a handful of people. I was not. I should have known when God told us to do this that
Yeah,
it
it's all
would
God.
it would be would be cracking, but like 10 million views, like
I think it's
the
crazy. I think it's crazy how God had prepared you to run social media and run stuff like this from doing your foot stuff, and how he used that negative thing to teach you how to build this thing that's positive. So that's just more evidence that God is real and that he used something that was filthy to do this.
Yeah.
Pretty fire.
Pretty crazy.
Proud of you, dog.
Proud of myself. I thought I was going to cry this episode for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I do. Like, I carried a lot of, like, shame for a long time behind that. Like, knowing that I had people lusting after me. I felt really bad about that afterwards.
Gotta forgive yourself.
Which is why I, like, immediately stopped.
Forgive yourself. The
Well,
Bible
and
says,
God forgives me. Like, I've asked God to forgive me. I've repented for it.
the Bible says he throws our sins into
I
a
know.
sea of forgetfulness. You
Freaking
don't even
crazy.
remember. You
Isn't
don't
that
remember.
crazy?
We keep bringing it up to him. He don't even remember.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I love you.
God is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is great.
God is great. Why are
All
you
right.
talking like that? Anyway, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If I look familiar to y'all, leave it in the comments. Let us know.
Block.
If you
No,
know
I'm
my
kidding.
old IG name.
Amy Cakes. What was it?
Why are you going to tell them?
Why was it Amy Cakes?
I don't even know. It was a bunch of things. It was Family First for a while. It was
Feet
Amee
First?
Cakes. I think it was Amee Cakes because I thought I wanted to be a makeup artist. So like,
Amy Cakes your
like
face?
yeah,
Dang, I remember when G made a
Illusion.
illusion. He made a logo.
It was like a cute little cupcake.
logo.
Yeah, that was like before he blew up.
Shout out to Greg, man.
Yeah,
The goat.
man. And now he's like big time.
The goat.
Love it. Love it for him.
Love it.
I love that for him.
Yeah.
Because we got to see the growth. That's inspiring for us, you know?
And we should be growing too.
We
He
gonna.
gave the whole blueprint to us.
For real. God is good, man. It's
Yep.
gonna happen. We're on the precipice. Is that the right word? Like,
Piss.
I feel it. Daniel,
That's all I heard you say.
precipice.
Precipice.
Is that the right word? I
Probably.
don't know. Probably not. Maybe.
All right.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll catch you in the next episode. Love y'all. Comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that.
Peace.
Peace.